What if I told you the secret to a breathtaking cottage garden next spring begins this month? And if you miss it, you'll be waiting an entire year for another chance? Picture this. It's next year, May, and you step outside into your garden. But this isn't just any garden. This is a living, breathing masterpiece that stops neighbors in their tracks. Towering delphiniums reach toward the sky like nature's own cathedral spires. Their deep blue blooms so dense they seem to glow against the morning light. Sweet cottage roses tumble over weathered fences, their petals releasing waves of fragrance with every gentle breeze. Foxgloves stand like elegant ladies in ball gowns, their spotted throats beckoning to fat bumblebees that drift lazily from bloom to bloom. The air itself seems alive, thick with the honey-sweet scent of peonies, the fresh green smell of new growth, and that indefinable perfume that only comes from a garden that's been loved and tended with care. Your morning coffee tastes better out here, surrounded by this symphony of color and life that you created with your own hands. This isn't just a gardening fantasy. This is what happens when you understand one of the best-kept secrets in cottage gardening. While most people think August is for winding down, for putting away the tools and calling a season, experienced cottage gardeners know better. They know that August, these hot, seemingly impossible days, is actually the golden window for planting perennials that will explode into life next spring. Here's what the garden centers don't want you to know. Those perfect cottage garden displays you see in magazines, they weren't planted in April, when everyone else is rushing to the nursery. They were planted the previous August, when smart gardeners were quietly setting the stage for next year's spectacular show. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is going to blow your mind. There's one perennial on today's list that actually performs better when you plant it during the hottest days of summer. Something that seems so delicate, so impossible to establish in the heat, that it will revolutionize how you think about late summer planting. I'll reveal what it is later, but I promise you've never heard this advice before. If you love the idea of creating a garden that's the envy of your entire neighborhood, hit that subscribe button right now, because what I'm about to share will save you months of waiting and give you a cottage garden that looks like it's been growing for decades. Plant 1, Delphinium, the towering beauty that loves heat stress. Let's start with the queen of the cottage garden, Delphinium. I can already hear some of you saying, Delphinium? In August heat? Are you crazy? But stay with me, because this is where gardening wisdom separates the amateurs from the experts. Most gardeners plant delphiniums in spring and then wonder why they struggle, why they never reach those magnificent 6-foot heights you see in English gardens. Here's the secret. Delphiniums planted in August develop what I call warrior roots. Deep, extensive root systems that can support those massive flower spikes that make your heart skip a beat. When you plant delphinium now, while the soil is warm but the days are starting to shorten, something magical happens. The plant focuses all its energy on root development instead of trying to bloom. It's like the difference between building a skyscraper on shallow foundations versus bedrock. Those August-planted delphiniums will tower over their spring-planted cousins next year. Choose varieties like Pacific Giant Series or Magic Fountain for zones 3 to 7, or Guardian Series for warmer zones 8 to 10. Plant them in rich, well-draining soil with their crowns just at soil level. Water them deeply twice a week, and here's the crucial part. Mulch heavily around the base, but keep the mulch away from the crown itself. This prevents crown rot, while keeping those developing roots cool and moist. The anticipation builds all winter, and then, sometime in late May or early June, you'll see those first green spears pushing through the soil. Within weeks, they'll be reaching for the sky, and by midsummer, you'll have flower spikes that make people stop their cars to stare at your garden. Plant 2, Bee Balm, the pollinator paradise that thrives on summer heat. If you want to create a garden that's absolutely alive with movement and sound, Bee Balm planted in August is your secret weapon. This isn't just about pretty flowers. This is about creating an ecosystem that pulses with life. Picture this. It's next July, and your Bee Balm is in full bloom. The vibrant red, pink, or purple flowers look like fireworks frozen in time. Their unusual tubular shape, creating these wild, spiky crowns of color. But the real magic happens when the pollinators arrive. Ruby-throated hummingbirds zip between the blooms like tiny emerald bullets, their wings beating so fast they're just a blur. Butterflies, monarchs, swallowtails, Painted ladies dance from flower to flower in this aerial ballet that never gets old. And the bees. Oh, the bees love bee balms so much that the plant literally gets its name from them. You'll hear your garden before you see it. That gentle, constant hum of contentment that tells you your garden is working exactly as nature intended. Here's why august planting gives bee balm such an advantage. This plant spreads by underground rhizomes, and warm soil encourages rapid root expansion. Plant it now, and by next summer, you'll have substantial clumps that produce dozens of flower stems instead of the weak, single stems you get from spring planting. Choose Jacob Klein for brilliant red flowers that resist powdery mildew, or Marshall's Delight for soft pink blooms that seem to glow in evening light. Plant them about 18 inches apart. Trust me, they'll fill in beautifully. Water deeply but infrequently to encourage deep root growth. And don't worry if the leaves look a bit stressed in the heat. They're just focusing their energy where it counts, on building those spreading roots that will give you years of incredible blooms. If you're already getting excited about transforming your garden into a pollinator paradise, give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me bring you more of these insider gardening secrets. Plant 3, a still bee, the shade garden miracle that breaks all the rules. Now here's where we completely flip the script on everything you think you know about shade gardening. Most gardeners look at their shady spots and sigh, thinking they're doomed to boring hostas, and maybe some impatience if they're lucky. But August planted a still bee is about to change that forever. Imagine walking into the shadiest part of your garden next June, and instead of that sad, forgotten corner, you're greeted by clouds of feathery plumes in shades of white, pink, peach, and deep burgundy. These aren't just flowers. They're living sculptures. Each bloom cluster made up of hundreds of tiny flowers that create this incredible texture that seems to capture and hold light even in deep shade. The foliage alone is worth the price of admission. Deep green, deeply cut leaves that look almost like ferns, creating this lush, tropical feeling that makes your shaded areas feel intentional and magical instead of like garden afterthoughts. But here's the August planting secret that most gardeners never discover. A still bee planted in late summer develops what I call moisture mining roots, extensive root systems that can find and utilize every drop of moisture in the soil. This makes them incredibly drought tolerant once established, which is the opposite of what most gardening books tell you. Choose varieties like Bridal Veil for pure white plumes that seem to float like ghosts in the shadows, or Fennel for deep red flowers that glow like embers in low light. Deutschland gives you clean white flowers with dark foliage that creates stunning contrast, while Purple Candles offers unique purple-pink blooms that you'll never see in typical shade gardens. Plant them in rich organic soil. This is one plant that loves compost mixed right into the planting hole. Space them about 12 inches apart for varieties that stay under 2 feet, or 18 inches for the larger types. Water them well at planting, then mulch heavily with shredded leaves or bark to keep those roots cool and moist. The real payoff comes next spring when your shaded areas explode into bloom, while your neighbors are still trying to figure out what to do with their dark corners. You'll create what I call a shadow paradise, proof that shade gardening can be every bit as spectacular as full sun gardening when you know these insider secrets. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Plant 4, Garden Phlox, the nostalgic fragrance that stops time. We're diving into the heart of what makes a cottage garden truly magical. That intoxicating fragrance that transports you back to your grandmother's garden or some perfect summer evening that lives only in your memory. Garden Phlox is that plant. This isn't just about visual beauty, though the massive flower heads in shades of white, pink, purple, and coral are absolutely stunning. This is about creating moments that take your breath away. Picture stepping into your garden on a warm August evening next year. The day's heat is finally breaking, and a gentle breeze carries the most incredible scent, sweet, spicy, and complex, like someone mixed vanilla with cloves and a hint of honey. You follow that fragrance like you're under a spell, and there they are, towering stands of garden phlox, their dome-shaped flower clusters so dense with blooms they look like living bouquets. Each flower head is made up of dozens of individual flowers, creating this incredible texture that seems to glow in the evening light. When planted in August, these perennials develop what I call anchor roots, deep, substantial root systems that can support flower heads so large and heavy that spring-planted phlox simply can't compete. But here's the secret most gardeners never learn. August planted phlox is naturally more resistant to powdery mildew, that white fungal coating that ruins so many phlox displays. Why? Because the plant has time to develop strong, healthy stems and good air circulation before the stress of blooming season arrives. Choose David for pure white flowers that seem to glow like moonlight in evening gardens, or Bright Eyes for soft pink blooms with darker centers that create this incredible depth of color. Purple Kiss offers deep purple flowers that look almost regal against the dark green foliage, while Orange Perfection gives you salmon orange blooms that are absolutely electric in sunset light. Plant them in rich, well-draining soil with good air circulation. This prevents that dreaded powdery mildew. Space them generously, about 24 inches apart, because these plants need room to breathe. Water deeply but at soil level, never overhead, and mulch around the base to keep moisture consistent. The anticipation builds through winter and spring, and then, usually in July, your garden explodes with fragrance so intense that people will comment on it from the street. You'll find yourself timing your evening watering just so you can stand near these plants and breathe in that incredible perfume. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Plant 5, Japanese Painted Fern, the silver ghost that illuminates dark corners. Now, we're venturing into territory that will completely change how you think about foliage plants. Most gardeners focus on flowers, flowers, flowers. But the secret to a truly sophisticated cottage garden lies in plants that provide structure and visual interest even when nothing is blooming. Japanese Painted Fern is that plant. And when you plant in August, you're setting yourself up for 12 months of pure garden magic. Forget everything you think you know about boring green foliage. Japanese Painted Fern looks like it was painted by some divine artist who got carried away with silver and pewter paint. The fronds emerge in spring as tight fiddleheads, slowly unfurling to reveal leaves that are predominantly silver with deep green edges and burgundy stems. In low light, these plants seem to actually glow, creating pools of brightness in the darkest corners of your garden. But here's where it gets really exciting. When planted in August, these ferns develop massive root systems that produce what I call colony effects. Instead of single plants, you get expanding colonies that create rivers of silver flowing through your shade garden. Imagine walking through your garden next summer and discovering that what started as a few small plants has become a shimmering carpet that makes your entire garden look more expensive and professionally designed. The texture is incredible too. These aren't the coarse, heavy leaves of hostas. Japanese Painted Fern fronds are delicate and lacy, creating this soft, almost ethereal quality that makes other plants look better by comparison. They're the perfect companions to those astilbe we planted earlier, and when you combine them with some dark leaf euchera, you create these incredible tapestries of color and texture that look intentional and sophisticated. Choose Metallicum for the most silver coloration. These plants literally sparkle in dappled light. Silver falls as more deeply cut fronds that create even more texture, while Regal Red adds burgundy tones that make the silver pop even more dramatically. Plant them in rich organic soil. They love compost and leaf mold mixed right into the planting hole. Space them about 15 inches apart if you want that colony effect, or give them more room if you prefer individual specimen plants. Water consistently, but don't let them sit in soggy soil. They like moisture, but not waterlogging. The real payoff comes in early spring, when these ghostly fiddleheads start emerging from the soil like something out of fairy tale. By May, you'll have substantial clumps that light up your shade garden, and by August, you'll be dividing them to create even more of these silver treasures. Plant 6, Euchera, the color-changing chameleon that never stops performing. Here's where we dive into the world of foliage plants that are so spectacular, so constantly changing and interesting that they make flowers seem almost optional. Euchera, also called coral bells, is having a moment right now in garden design. And when you understand why, your garden will never be the same. These aren't your grandmother's coral bells with plain green leaves and tiny white flowers. Modern Euchera varieties offer foliage colors that seem almost impossible. Deep burgundy leaves that look like they're made of velvet, lime green foliage that glows like neon, silver leaves marked with deep purple veins, and colors that actually change with the seasons and light conditions. But here's the august planting advantage that will blow your mind. Euchera planted in late summer develops what I call chameleon roots, root systems so robust that the plants can support much larger, more colorful leaves than spring-planted specimens. You're essentially giving them a head start that results in bigger, bolder, more dramatic foliage displays that last from spring until hard frost. Picture your garden next May. While your neighbors' Euchera are just starting to perk up from winter dormancy, yours are already producing massive mounds of colorful foliage. Palace purple creates pools of deep burgundy that make other colors pop like jewels. Lime marmalade offers chartreuse leaves that seem to glow from within, creating incredible contrast with darker plants. Silver scrolls gives you leaves that look like they were dusted with metallic paint, each one marked with intricate silver patterns. And then there are the flowers, delicate spikes of tiny bells in shades of white, pink, or coral that dance above the foliage like fairy wands. But honestly, the foliage is so spectacular that the flowers are just a bonus. These plants are workhorses, providing color and interest through every season, surviving everything from drought to deep freeze. The seasonal color changes are what make Euchera truly addictive. Autumn Bride starts the season with green leaves marked with silver, then transforms to peachy orange in fall. Fire Chief begins with bright red foliage that deepens to burgundy as temperatures drop. It's like having a completely different plant each season. Choose varieties based on the color effects you want to create. Plant Obsidian for nearly black foliage that makes everything else look brighter, or Georgia Peach for leaves that cycle through peach, orange, and coral tones. Space them about 12 inches apart for a carpeting effect, or give them more room to develop as individual specimens. Plant them with the crown slightly above soil level. This is crucial for preventing crown rot. Water consistently, but ensure good drainage, and mulch lightly around the base. These plants are incredibly tough once established, tolerating both drought and extreme cold better than almost any other foliage perennial. Plant 7, Salvia, the drought-proof blooming machine that never quits. We're moving into the realm of plants that will completely change your relationship with watering and garden maintenance. If you've ever wished for perennials that bloom nonstop, survive on practically no water once established, and get more beautiful every year, Salvia is about to become your new obsession. This isn't the red salvia you see in boring municipal plantings. Perennial salvias are sophisticated, elegant plants that produce spikes of flowers in colors ranging from deep purple through every shade of blue, pink, white, and even bicolor combinations. When planted in August, they develop extensive root systems that make them practically indestructible while supporting massive flower production that lasts from late spring until hard frost. Picture your garden next July during the hottest, driest stretch of summer. While your neighbors are dragging hoses around trying to keep their gardens alive, your salvias are producing wave after wave of flower spikes that seem to thrive on neglect. May Night creates pools of deep purple that look almost black in certain light, while Snow Hill offers clean white spikes that remain crisp and fresh even in brutal heat. But here's the secret that makes August planting so brilliant. Salvias planted in late summer develop what botanists call stress roots, incredibly deep, far-reaching root systems that can find moisture even in the driest conditions. This means next summer, when everyone else's gardens are struggling, yours will be putting on a show of a lifetime. The flower production is almost supernatural. Unlike most perennials that bloom for a few weeks and then call it quits, salvias are what I call repeat bloomers. Cut off the spent flower spikes, and within 2 weeks, you'll have fresh new spikes emerging. Some gardeners report getting 4 or 5 flushes of blooms from a single plant in one season. Choose Caradonna for deep purple-blue flowers with dark stems that create incredible contrast, or Rose Marvel for soft pink blooms that seem to glow in evening light. Evolution Violet offers flowers that start white and age to deep purple, creating a bicolor effect that's absolutely stunning. Plant them in well-draining soil. They actually prefer lean soil over rich, organic matter. Space them about 18 inches apart and water them well at planting. Then gradually reduce watering as they establish. By next summer, you'll be amazed at how little care they need while producing more flowers than plants that require constant attention. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Plant 8, Echinacea, the prairie princess that feeds your soul and the birds. We're entering the home stretch now, and this is where the magic really intensifies. Echinacea, or purple coneflower, isn't just another pretty perennial. It's a plant that creates what I call living connections between your garden, the wildlife around you, and something deeper in your own spirit that responds to wild, natural beauty. Forget those boring, single purple cone flowers your grandmother grew. Today's echinacea varieties are nothing short of spectacular. Massive flowers in shades of coral, orange, yellow, white, and yes, still purple, but purple so rich and deep it looks like crushed velvet. When you plant these powerhouses in August, you're not just adding flowers to your garden. You're creating an ecosystem hub that will buzz with life for years to come. Picture this scene from next August. Your echinacea plants have grown into substantial clumps, each one producing dozens of those iconic cone-shaped flowers that seem to reach toward the sky like small suns. But here's where it gets really magical. The wildlife parade that begins every morning. Goldfinches cling to the seed heads, their bright yellow feathers creating this incredible contrast against the deep centers of the flowers. Monarch butterflies drift from bloom to bloom like living stained glass windows, and those massive bumblebees, the fuzzy, friendly ones, work the flowers with such dedication you can't help but smile. But the real secret of August planting lies in what happens underground. Echinacea develops what prairie botanists call anchor taproots, sometimes reaching 3 feet deep or more. This makes them virtually drought-proof once established, but more importantly, it allows them to support flower heads so large and abundant that spring-planted specimens simply can't match. Choose Magnus for classic purple flowers the size of your palm, or venture into newer varieties like Sunset, with its incredible orange and coral petals that seem to glow from within. White Swan offers pure white petals surrounding those iconic dark centers, creating a clean, elegant look that works with any color scheme. And if you want to blow people's minds, try Green Jewel. Yes, green echinacea flowers that look like something from another planet. The maintenance is almost ridiculously simple. Plant them in well-draining soil. They actually prefer lean conditions over rich garden soil. Space them about 18 inches apart. Water them well at planting. Then step back and watch them take off. By next summer, you'll have established clumps that can handle whatever Mother Nature throws at them. And here's the bonus that makes echinacea truly special. Leave the seed head standing through winter, and you'll provide food for birds during the hardest months while adding architectural interest to your winter garden. Those dark seed heads covered with snow are almost as beautiful as the summer flowers. Plant 9, Japanese forest grass, the flowing fountain that moves like water. We're diving into something completely different, a plant so elegant, so graceful in its movement that it will literally change how you think about garden design. Japanese forest grass, or Hakanekloa, is what happens when nature decides to create living sculpture that responds to every breath of wind like it's dancing. This isn't just grass. This is garden poetry in motion. Imagine cascading fountains of golden green foliage that seem to flow like water over rocks and around other plants. Each blade is soft and flexible, creating this incredible arching, weeping habit that brings movement and grace to areas that would otherwise feel static and boring. When planted in August, Japanese forest grass develops what I call establishment roots, extensive root systems that support much larger, more dramatic clumps than spring plantings can achieve. By next summer, what starts as a small, modest plant becomes a substantial fountain of flowing foliage that creates instant sophistication wherever you place it. The color variations are absolutely stunning. Aurelia offers bright golden yellow leaves, striped with green, creating pools of sunshine even in shade. All Gold lives up to its name with solid golden foliage that seems to glow from within, while Albo striata provides green leaves with clean white stripes that create incredible contrast in shadow gardens. But here's what makes this plant truly addictive: the way it moves. Even the slightest breeze sets those graceful blades in motion, creating this hypnotic, almost meditative quality that makes you want to sit and watch. Place it where you can see it from a window, and you'll find yourself pausing throughout the day just to observe its gentle dance. The seasonal changes are spectacular too. Spring brings fresh, bright foliage that gradually deepens in color through summer. Fall transforms the entire plant into shades of gold and bronze that seem to capture and hold the autumn light. Even winter has its charm. The dried foliage creates these architectural mounds that add structure to the sleeping garden. Plant it in partial shade with rich, organic soil. This is one grass that loves moisture and good drainage. Space individual plants about 24 inches apart if you want specimen plantings, or closer if you're creating drifts. Water consistently through the first season, and mulch around the base to keep those roots cool and moist. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Plant 10. The big reveal, hellebore, the winter rose that laughs at snow. Here it is, the plant I've been teasing throughout this entire video. The perennial that actually thrives when planted during the hottest days of August, the one that will completely revolutionize your understanding of seasonal planting. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the hellebore, the winter rose that blooms in snow and gets stronger every year. I know what you're thinking. Hellebores? Those delicate-looking flowers that bloom in winter? Plant them in August heat? But this is where gardening wisdom separates the beginners from the experts. And I'm about to share a secret that most nurseries don't even know. Hellebores planted in August develop what botanists call thermal roots. Root systems that are specifically adapted to handle extreme temperature swings. While spring-planted hellebores struggle to establish before winter, August plantings have 4 full months to develop the robust root systems they need to support those incredible winter blooms. Picture this. It's February next year, and the rest of your garden is buried under snow or looking dead and brown. But there, pushing to the frozen ground like nature's own miracle, are cups of color that seem impossible. Pristine white flowers marked with delicate pink spots, deep burgundy blooms that look black in certain light, and shades of yellow and green that bring hope to the darkest days of winter. These aren't just flowers. They're acts of defiance against the season itself. While everything else surrenders to winter, hellebores stand tall and proud, their blooms lasting for months, often from December through April. It's like having a piece of spring that refuses to wait for spring. The foliage alone is worth growing them for. Deep green, leathery leaves that form substantial clumps and provide structure and color even when the plants aren't blooming. These leaves are evergreen in most climates, creating year-round presence in your garden that most perennials can't match. Choose Winter Jewel Series for the most reliable performance and incredible color range. Deep purples, pristine whites, soft pinks, and unusual green and yellow combinations. Gold Collection offers flowers in shades you've never seen in winter blooms, while Wedding Party provides pure whites and soft pastels that seem to glow against winter's dark backdrop. Plant them in rich, well-draining soil with some protection from harsh afternoon sun. They love morning light, but appreciate shade during the hottest part of the day. Space them about 18 inches apart and water them well at planting. This is crucial for establishing those thermal roots. The anticipation builds through fall as the plants settle in, and then, usually sometime after New Year's, you'll notice the first flower buds pushing through the soil. It's like receiving a personal gift from nature, just when you need it most. As we wrap up this journey through these 10 incredible perennials, I want you to close your eyes for just a moment and imagine your garden 12 months from now. It's August again, but this time, you're not scrambling to figure out what to plant. Instead, you're walking through a garden that looks like it's been professionally designed and lovingly tended for decades. Your delphiniums tower like living sculptures against the evening sky. The air is thick with the perfume of garden phlox, and every corner seems to pulse with the gentle hum of bees and butterflies working your abundant blooms. Your shade areas have been transformed into silver rivers of Japanese painted fern and astilbe, while your sunny borders explode with the colors of heuchera and the endless blooms of salvia. This isn't just a garden, it's a legacy. It's proof that you understood something most gardeners never learn. That the secret to spectacular spring and summer displays lies in the courage to plant when everyone else has given up on the season. I've been gardening for years, and I can tell you that some of my most treasured garden memories come from taking that leap of faith, from planting when it seemed impossible, when the heat was overwhelming, when everything in me said to wait until spring. But those August plantings year after year have given me the gardens that stop people in their tracks, that make neighbors knock on my door asking for advice, that bring me joy every single day from spring through fall. Your garden is waiting for this transformation. These 10 perennials are ready to become the foundation of something beautiful, something lasting, something that will bring you joy for years to come. The only question is, are you ready to take that first step? I want to hear from you in the comments below. Which of these 10 perennials are you most excited to try? Are you ready to join the ranks of smart gardeners who know that August is actually the secret weapon for creating cottage garden magic? Share this video with a gardening friend who needs to hear this message. And don't forget to subscribe, because next week, we're diving deep into the art of dividing perennials for free plants that will multiply your garden's impact. Your cottage garden transformation starts now. The only question is, what are you waiting for?